Warning! The Stone Age Gamer podcast includes a lot of bad language. Cover your motherfucking ears.
Good evening and welcome to the Stone Age Gamer podcast. I'm Kris Randazzo and joining me tonight is Master of the Swinging Hammer, Dan Ryan.
It's not the only thing that's swinging.
Dangly parts. The Alphabet Super Series has returned. This month's letter was K, and I chose the NES quote-unquote classic The Karate Kid. How did we enjoy beating the stuffing out of Chosen? Polish up your chopstick skills because the Stone Age Gamer podcast starts now. Hi everyone, this is episode 506. It's the week of March 22nd, 2024. Dr. Dan, how you doing?
Oh, I'm sick, Kris.
That
not happy
sucks.
about it. It does. Like, let's see. Late last week, Tiff and the girls started getting sick, and I was like, oh, that sucks for all of you guys. Whatever. I'll be fine. It's totally fine.
What in your history of being a human on this planet made you think that saying this'll be fine was going to be fine?
I don't fucking know. And it didn't start hitting me until like Wednesday. Like I woke up Wednesday and just like my eyes opened and I went, no, that's not right. That doesn't feel the way it usually does. Okay, cool. Because my throat really, really hurt. And I was like, well, that sucks. I can get through the day. Like I don't have to talk a ton. It'll be all right. I left work a little bit early on Wednesday. I had a doctor's appointment, a follow-up for my shoulder on Thursday, where she basically said, she was like, yeah, I mean, it's still not fixed yet. Keep doing the thing we were doing. I went, well, I mean, did I have to come pay you for that? I feel like I could have just called you and you could have been like, yeah, no, don't come in. It's a waste of money and time. But whatever. So I got to keep doing that. My throat was still hurting. And then as I was going to bed last night, I was like, my throat doesn't hurt anymore, but I can't breathe because my nose is just completely clogged up. So, sweet. That's cool. Super excited about it. That'll be fun. I woke up this morning. I was like, yep, no, definitely still can't breathe. It's cool. I'll just go to work, record a podcast, breathing out of one nostril the entire time. It's it's miserable, Kris. It's miserable. I hate it. And like I know what did it. I know like for me, it's the weather. The fact that we went from 40 degrees to 80 degrees in the span of a day,
of 24 hours.
Like that, that just triggers my allergies in a way that, like, I just know I'm going to get super congested and hate everyone and everything. So that's
I'm genuinely surprised I'm not currently sick. The allergies have started kicking in, but usually when the weather changes like this, I almost always get sick, and
yeah,
I am not currently sick. Nobody in the house is.
Well, I mean, now that you said that shit out loud,
oh yeah,
you're
it's
going to
coming.
be tomorrow. You're going to wake up just like in a puddle of just fucking fluids. Not like in a sexy way. Like in a terrible, terrible way. It's going to be
the
awful.
wrong fluids.
The wrong... Yeah. Yeah. That's what it's going to be. There's your episode title.
It is. Just wrote it down.
Yeah,
the wrong
done.
fluid.
Well done. That didn't take very long. Oh, man. Yeah, no, I'm such a baby about it. I hate it because I never used to get sick when I was a kid. Like all through college and stuff. Like I was never sick. I was just like, yeah, I'm good. My immune system's fucking great. I don't have to worry about anything. And then boy, oh boy.
It's making up for lost time now.
It certainly is. It's like every other week. It's like, come on, man. What are you doing? Lay back down. You're old. All right, fine. How you doing?
Well, I'm pretty tired. Ellie got me up at like 1:30 last night, and I've been awake ever since.
That's not great.
No, it's not great. I have such a hard time going back to sleep when something wakes me up.
I can't.
So like,
yeah, I can't.
When it's that early, you would think that I would have been able to do something at some point. Like I would have eventually been able to fall back to sleep. The best I got was like I eventually moved down to the basement and fell half asleep through an episode of Mystery Science Theater. But like, that's not full on sleep. That was just half asleep. So I tried taking a nap earlier today, and I had about 2 hours set aside. All right, I'm caught up on work. I'm going to just lay down up here, and I got to sleep for like almost an hour, and then somebody somewhere closed a car door, and Hopper was like,
son of a bitch!
Like that.
Somebody could be coming and or going.
He's just doing it right now because he heard me doing it. And it's like, well,
that's awesome.
I guess I'll try and go to sleep for another hour, and that didn't happen. So I'm tired. I'm a little loopy. I'm feeling better than expected. My gums are not doing great. That's my big gripe. The whole bone poking through the gums thing is still happening. And
it's just not what you want.
No, it's not. And it's like one side seems to be getting better-ish, depending on the day. Like there's definitely movement going on there, and I'm not driving an hour to go out there and I'm gonna get my bone filed again. I'm gonna wait and see how bad this gets.
As that sounds.
Yeah, it's a hoot. But I want to see if things can take care of themselves just a little bit longer. Because I mean, I'm probably gonna wind up having to go back. But like on the right hand side, it feels like something else is gonna poke through. So I'd rather just wait until it's time to do them both. To go out there and get it all done in one shot.
Would they do both at the same time?
Oh, yeah. It's not like they have to put me under or anything. They just go in there and shave it down and call it a day. It took literal seconds when I was there last time, but that's just it. It takes an hour drive out there, so
you did say it's probably take me up on my offer earlier, but I have a Dremel and that fucking like the little filey shit. I will take care of it for you, no problem. I love you, and I will.
I have no doubt. I have no doubt that you would use power tools in my mouth.
Again.
Would they actually accomplish it? Would they solve the problem? I sincerely doubt it, but I appreciate the effort that you would put into it.
Oh, it'd be so much effort. God damn it!
Oh my god!
Well, that really. Why did Ellie get up? Was she like? Is she sick? Was she scared?
Bad dream or something. Honestly, I think it was because I refused. So she will ask for snuggles when we go to bed some nights, and I just freely volunteered it last night. I was like, "Sure, I got some time. No, let's do it." She's not going to want
fucking snuggles.
She's not going to want to cuddle with me for the rest of our lives. You know, I just take advantage of this time while I got it. Except, you know, she wasn't trying to go to sleep.
And they still do. So, you know, I just.
Well, she was just fucking around. She was just goofing around and making jokes and bouncing around, and so I left. I was like, "No," she's like, "No, I promise. I'll try to go to sleep." I was like, "No, you shot your shot and you lost. It's time for me to leave. Sorry."
Sorry about your luck. You'll be all right.
I'm here to try to get you to sleep because it's school night. That's my existence right now. So you're just here to fuck around, then nothing doing. No, I left. So chances are she conveniently had a bad dream, which required her getting into our bed and then me taking into her bed and then me not getting back to sleep and all that. But who knows? Maybe she's really
because she doesn't care about you.
She really
doesn't care about you. No. It's all about her needs and what she wants. And
that's right.
And Dad can go screw.
That's what Dad's here for. To fulfill her needs. But
go screw Mom. Sorry. It's could be one of those things.
No, she always comes to me. Not always. Sometimes she'll go over to Karen, but most of the time she comes to me.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
Because you're a sucker. I am too.
It is.
Like, I'm not
true.
saying
I'm
that in like a judgmental way. Because the kids come to me when, like, they come to me for everything except when they are feeling sick and don't want to go to school. Because I tell them every time, I'm like, you go there and you fucking don't go to the nurse. They're like, well, what if I don't feel well? I fake it. I don't give a shit. Go to school, you dicks. You missed too much
Here's
school.
the deal. You go to the cafeteria, you get a straw, and you suck it up.
That's right. Ooh, I like that. I'm going to use that next time.
It's all yours. It's free.
Thank you. But, like, literally for everything else, like, Dad? Like, oh, fine. Whatever. Yes. It's okay. It's fine. Whatever it was.
I had a similar situation. So this is actually an interesting conversation to have that I don't really know. I don't really know what to make of. So the neighbor girls came over and they asked. Ellie was over at their house, and then they came and knocked on the door, and Karen answered the door, and they asked if they could talk to me. I was like, okay.
Okay.
So Karen came downstairs and got me because I was working. She's like, the girls want to talk to you. They don't want to talk to me. And it was to ask if I could go to the playground. And so this isn't something you need me specifically for. Like,
no, yeah, it is. Because Karen's answer was no.
Well, that's kind of the thing. They were asking if they could go to the playground with the neighbor girl's older brother. He's
how old?
I think he's, in some degree of college. Like, he's an older kid. So, my natural instinct was just like, I'm sure it's fine. They're just going to the playground. And Karen's got this whole other thing of just like, well, we don't know him. We don't know if he's high. We don't know if he's drunk. We don't know what his driving record is. We don't know.
Yeah.
It's like, all right. I mean, you're not wrong, but also, like, we can't thoroughly vet everyone our kid interacts with, right?
No,
like,
you definitely
can't do that. Like, because Ellie really wants to start having sleepovers, but she's still in pull-ups.
Yeah.
So our hard line is like, fine, you want to start having sleepovers, you have to be out of pull-ups. Like, that's just, we're not playing that game. If you're going to continue to piss in your pull-up instead of going to the bathroom, because that's what it is. This isn't some sort of like, I can't do it kind of a thing. This is, at this point, a distinct lack of effort.
Choice.
Because we've seen that she can do it, but she doesn't want to get out of bed. And so she has the pull-up, which is just like a portable toilet, which it really isn't.
Her and Trump, very much along the same lines.
Very much along the same lines.
Yeah.
Ah, goodness gracious. So, I don't know. But the thought of a sleepovers, came up. Karen and I were talking about that a little bit more while she was at the playground. Like, again, like, there's only so much vetting we can do with, like, how do you even have those conversations with parents? Like, just like, we don't know if they have any guns in the house or what's going on, who's coming and going in that house. We don't know. Okay, but
so ask. Ask.
Well, that's where I kind of like, came in. Like, what's the what's the conversation like? I don't know. It seems super awkward to be like, all right, well, they want to have a sleepover, but I don't trust you. So tell me about prove to me why I should trust you.
It's not even the I don't trust you thing. It's just the, I don't know you. It's so weird too. Like, because when, like, you think back to when we were kids, and which wasn't all that long ago. I mean, I know we're old men now and broken and falling apart, but you think back to when we were kids, not all that long ago, and it was like, get the fuck out of the house. I don't care where you are. I can't care where you... There's no way for you to contact me. You're just come home when the streetlights come on. And we just were out in the world. Just being, but, and like we had to have like a serious conversation with the girls this week, because this was one thing we did. I totally forgot about it until just now. But this week, we had to go to freshman orientation because my daughters are going to be freshmen in high school next year. Oof. So we went to their high school. Yeah, it's fucking weird, right? We went to their high school. We're sitting there in the auditorium. We're listening to all this shit from the principal. Seems like a very nice man and all this stuff. We talked to the girls, and we're like, all right, the school is 0.4 miles away from the house. It's time for you guys to walk home. Like, Mom will drop you off, or I'll drop them off, you know, depending on my work schedule or whatever. Because I think the doors open at their high school at like 7:15 or whatever. But it's 0.4 miles. There's sidewalks the entire way. It's a neighborhood school. It's time for you guys to walk home. And the look on their faces was like we had just asked them to do the most impossible, difficult thing that anybody had. They were like, what? Walk? We can't do that. We don't know. I was like, how do you not fucking know? Like, it's less than half a mile away from the house. You're going to be 15 years old. So by the time I was 15 years old, I was driving. I shouldn't have been, but I definitely was. Like, I would take the car and just leave. Go do shit. My grandfather used to come pick me up, and I lived in Williamstown, New Jersey, and he lived in Pittman, New Jersey. And when I was like 15 years old, my grandpa would come and pick me up. We were like going to the movies or whatever. Or I was just going to hang out over at his place, and he needed help with something, whatever. And he would come over, and we would get in the car. He had a Mercury Sable. He would drive down the block, and then he would get out and be like, all right, you're driving. And I would drive like 25 minutes, a half hour away, like just driving at 15 years old. And my kids are like, oh, I can't walk home. That seems like a bit too much. I'm like, fuck, man. We have screwed up big time, or we've done it right. I'm not sure which one it is. It's one of the two.
It could go in either direction. So yeah, really, I don't know. Could. How did you just have those conversations with, like, your kids wanted to stay over someone's house, and you'd be like, all right, do you have any guns? Do you have any drugs? How do you broach that subject?
The couple of times, because they're not really into it. They don't like sleepovers. They like people coming here. They don't like to go other places. So we've kind of lucked out that way. But the couple of times that they have gone to sleepovers, they've been people we either knew very, very well, of like, we have had these conversations, like, just while the kids were hanging out and we were out in the back, you know, drinking a beer or whatever. The conversation, because I am who I am, naturally turns into, can you believe what that fucking prick said? You know, like, it just gets to that point. It's eventually, because my filter starts to wear away the later it gets. And like, it's been very obvious that, like, oh, you guys are cool. You're like us. But we've also had the, like, what's the deal? Who's going to be home? Are there weapons in the house? Like, I've had that conversation, you know, because if me asking you that question is too weird, then my kid should not be at your house. You're not a person that I want in charge of my kid, is really what it comes down to. You know what I mean? Fair.
Yeah.
If you're so put off by the fact that I'm just like, I'm not judging you. I just want to know more, because I know my children. You know what I like? I know that they're curious and stupid at times because they're kids. You know, so like, what do I like? What's up? If that question makes you uncomfortable, then you probably shouldn't be there.
Yeah, all right, that's fair. It's good advice.
Yeah,
it's all new. It's all new. You know, I don't really know what to do with it.
I get it. Time out for 1 second, because my lovely darling wife, who's smoking hot, just brought a bag of Shake Shack down into the Jose Canseco Executive Annex And I do not know what is about to happen to me, but I'm very turned on.
Do
Okay.
you want frozen hot chocolate?
Well,
or maple
I wait with bated breath.
Chris, do I want frozen hot chocolate, or what was the other one? Maple snickerdoodle.
Oh, personally, I'd go frozen hot chocolate, but you and me have
that was
tastes,
my gut
so.
reaction too.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was my gut reaction. Frozen hot chocolate, please. Oh my god. Oh, there's like little chunky things at the top of it.
Like marshmallows?
Oh, are those marshmallows? Sweet. Could you also bring me 4 ibuprofen? I know the shake wasn't enough. I need more. Oh, now I got to drink this beer real quick before I have the milkshake on top of it. Yeah, no, it's like it's yeah. That's kind of my take on it. Like, I would have absolutely no problem if a parent was like, "So, do you guys fucking smoke pot? It's legal in New Jersey. Is that a thing that you do? Do you drink a lot? Do you like,
Yeah,
I
you
would
know
have
what? That's the
zero
thing. If
problem
anyone
with
asked
anybody
me,
asking me that question.
If anyone asked me those questions, I wouldn't have any problem at all. I don't know why I feel so awkward about asking somebody else those questions.
Well,
But I mean, they go to Ellie goes to other
people
people's
are
houses
monsters.
sometimes, and like,
Yeah.
I don't do this. I'm not doing the same vetting for just going over their house to play. It's like sleepovers that's this separate thing for some reason. I don't know.
Well,
It's weird.
it is. It's a very, very strange endeavor. I think it has to do a lot with like the vulnerability of that, because like when you are asleep, awake, it's like, all right, if there's a situation, the reactions can happen.
Right.
I can like, oh, a thing happened, and I'm getting the fuck out of here, or I'm calling my dad, or whatever whatever the case may be. But there's an inherent vulnerability in being asleep and trusting that, to where it's like, all right, it's it's weird.
Yeah, I suspect that sleepovers are going to happen here before they happen anywhere else.
Yeah.
Like, that's just kind of what Ellie wants, and I think that's what the neighbors want too, to sleep over here. But who knows? I guess we'll find out if she ever gets herself out of pull-ups, that is. It'll be one of those things in high school.
Oh, God. I mean, maybe. Whatever makes her happy. No, that's not true.
Maybe not whatever makes her happy. Oh, God. Well, did you play any video games this week?
Yes. So, sorry, my daughter just brought me ibuprofen and informed me that there's a spider outside of my door. I said, yes, his name is Raul. We are friends. So last week, it might have been Friday, it might have been over the weekend. I don't remember. Doesn't matter. They updated Spider-Man 2 to have the New Game Plus mode. And I was like, fuck yes. I'm going to go back in. I'm going to skip all the goddamn cutscenes. I don't have to play the however long it takes to get this ability to do the fucking takedown thing. I'm just going to go in and do the takedown thing. So I have now achieved, Chris, I'm very, very proud of myself, my 3rd ever platinum trophy on a fucking PlayStation game.
Congratulations.
That game is so fucking good. It's just so goddamn good, and it was so fun to just jump back in it and do the web takedowns that I had to do. And like, it's so silly because I was like, it was like, I think I have 3. Let me go back and check. Let me just see what I've got here. And I do indeed have 3 platinum trophies. I have a platinum trophy for Spider-Man 2. I have a platinum trophy for Guacamelee Super Turbo Championship Edition. And then I have a platinum trophy for Guacamelee. So I have platinum trophied Guacamelee twice and then Spider-Man 2 once. I really like Guacamelee.
Clearly.
Yeah. And then other than that, I really haven't, I did that on like Tuesday, I think. I don't know. I sent a picture to the Discord. Whenever I said that is like literally when I did it. And then I've just been feeling so shitty that I haven't had the concentration to like sit down and be like, all right, I'm gonna play a fucking game, other than Karate Kid, but that took me like 15 minutes of my day. So, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But yeah, I really
I'm excited.
have not done much. I've been saying it for a couple weeks, but like I turned out when I got home from work today, Tiff was still at work. The kids were upstairs. Like all the dogs were pretty chill. And I was like, I'm going to play a video game. And I turned on my PlayStation and I was like, man, I don't want to fucking play any of this. And then I turned on my Switch and I was like, nah, I don't want to fucking play any of this either. All right, I'm just going to lay down. I'm just going to sit here. Like I've been really unmotivated to play anything. I want to go pick up that Pacific Drive game.
I heard good things about that.
I've heard nothing but good things about it. And like that's kind of, as I was looking at all the different games that I have or like whatever, on like the PlayStation Plus and all the different stuff, I was just thinking like none of this is like I want to play Pacific Drive and I'm going to go buy it physically. And none of these are Pacific Drive, so I'm just going to turn it off. Sit here, wait for Tiff to get home. I'm just going to stare at this wall with my nose all stuffed up, being pissed off.
I feel like you have a lot in common with the dogs.
I do. I really, yeah. Today I was just, I got all excited every time I heard a car door slam outside. I was like, oh, maybe it's her. And then I would look at my phone and it didn't pop up and tell me, like the Ring camera thing didn't tell me that there was movement at my front door. I was like, fuck, it's not her. That's sad. Wouldn't that be a sad life if that was true? That'd be so weird. Gosh, she's home. Yeah. Anyway. I gotta drink this
still
beer
hasn't
so I can
gone
have
off
this
yet.
milkshake. Still?
It still hasn't popped yet. It has to pop before 10 p.m. It's 9:58. It still hasn't gone off yet, which is fucking absurd.
And you're sure you didn't miss it?
No, I'm looking at it. So I can look at the counter of like how much is in the pot, and like it'll tell me when it goes off. So I haven't missed it. I'm just sitting here throwing 10 cents every 15 seconds.
Just waiting.
Just waiting.
Watching.
It's gotta go off any minute now.
I mean, one would think so. However,
well, yeah, it's 9:59 now. It's got to go off by 10.
It seems,
which is fine, because you have to spend through whatever you earned in order to like keep it. So like it's fine.
Yeah.
I don't mind spending the extra time rolling through this because that means I get to keep this in the long run.
Sure.
It's all just a completely ridiculous situation here. All right,
it really
come on.
is.
It's 9:59. What's going to happen here? The suspense is killing me. This is riveting podcasting, I know.
I don't have anything to say to that. I don't have anything else to say. I'm sorry.
All right, it is now 10 p.m. What's going on here, guys?
I mean, where are they?
Is killing me.
Where is it? Like, where is it located?
It has to be in New Jersey. It's East Coast. It's New Jersey, specifically New Jersey.
Okay. I mean, you have to be in New Jersey to gamble online, but I don't know that.
That's true. Yeah, maybe they don't have to be in New Jersey. I don't know where they are. They could be on the moon for all I know.
With Steve. Oh man. Yeah, I don't know, Chris. I don't know what to tell you. Don't gamble.
I don't know what to do. I'm just going to keep on pushing buttons.
I was going to say, like, do you give up?
Well,
at what point do you give up?
That's a good question.
At what point is it like, all right, this isn't this isn't gonna happen. Let me fucking whatever.
I gotta say, yeah, this is new, and now I'm getting texts from our text chain. Just like everyone's like, all right, what's going on here?
Everybody's freaking out.
And so we have this entire group on this text chain, and we all monitor it throughout the course of the day. So, like, whenever it gets, everybody checks in and, periodically throughout the course of the day. And once it's like, it's getting close to this jackpot's getting close to going off. So, everybody pay
jump
attention,
on.
kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody jump on, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
It's the way we all work together to make sure that nobody's doing anything stupid.
Right.
But yeah, this is weird. This is a bit on the strange side.
Oh, you want me to like start telling jokes?
No, that's fine. I can talk while doing this.
It's like I had a couple, and like Tiff was.
Oh well, by all means, then.
No, well, yeah, she was getting pretty tired of the jokes that I was like. I had a lot of jokes this week that were about like owls and ghosts having sex. And she was like, I'm getting like really tired of these. And I was like, well, boo fucking who?
You said I do.
I think you missed the boo fucking who. I think you missed the, no? That didn't hit for you? All right. Sorry. Let's see.
Wait, was that the joke? Shit,
that's
I missed
the joke.
All right, try
an
again.
Owl and a ghost. Tiff was getting really tired of the owl and ghost sex jokes, and I said, well, boo fucking who?
I get
boo,
it.
Ghost.
Yeah, that one actually went straight over my head.
Okay, all right, that's fair. Why did the computer get glasses?
I don't know.
Wanted to improve its website?
Yeah. Heard better.
Be better. What the fuck is wrong with you? Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. I don't have anything else. That's it. I'm fresh out of shit, Chris. I'm so tired. I don't feel well. I'm sorry. I'm trying to stall so that you can do your thing. But,
no, it's I can talk and do this. It's just clicking a button every 15 seconds.
Okay. Well, but there's been a couple times where you've been like, I missed it. I feel bad.
Yeah, that's because I hadn't started yet. I forgot.
Well, okay.
I forgot to start spinning. Now I'm just out.
Oh, all right. Well, in that case, fucking do your job, Chris. Paid the
I've
big
had
bucks.
an interesting week in video games, Dan. An interesting week indeed. So
lay it on me.
Let's see. Where do I even begin on this? I'll start with Metal Gear. All right. So Metal Gear Collection is I officially got assigned the review.
Oh, nice.
So I will definitely be writing the review for the Metal Gear Collection. So I started playing Metal Gear Solid 2, like in earnest. And God, the difference between Solid 1 and 2 is just so astronomical. Yeah. It has been decades since I've played these games, and jumping into Metal Gear Solid 2, just the difference between PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2 graphics was like, what an astronomical leap that was.
Oh my God.
Absolutely
it was
unbelievable.
So huge. Yeah.
And that game still looks really nice.
It does.
But that's the thing I keep hearing about all these like unplayable complaints specifically about Metal Gear Solid 2 in this collection, that it is utter filth. It is how fucking dare they release this game in this condition. And so I'm like expecting, I have expectations when that starts being the case. And like,
yeah, sure.
So I started playing it and it's fine. Oh, I think somebody figured it out.
Okay.
I don't think they did daylight savings time. I don't think they updated the site for daylight savings.
What a bunch of assholes.
Seriously. Well, all right. I guess I should stop doing this for now. Well, shit. All right. Well, anyway, I guess I'll put this off for a little while longer. I'll be in front of the computer. I mean, I didn't lose any money. Nah, I guess I lost. I'm down like $1.50 on my phone.
Oh no!
And I think I'm about where I started on the computer. So, these things happen.
They do.
No biggie. I'll figure it out when I figure it out. All right. So, Metal Gear Solid 2, I'm playing it, and it seems fine other than being Metal Gear Solid 2, which is just fucking bananas.
Yeah.
And it's not even that crazy yet. It's just, it's just so incredibly talky. Let's see. Oh, someone's saying it's set to go at 10:42.
How the fuck do they know?
That's Sean. I trust him.
No, all right. Yeah, Sean. If anybody does know, it's Sean.
That's true.
But still.
So anyways, Metal Gear Solid 2 does not start with those recaps, it seems.
Yeah.
Like, I loved that in Metal Gear Solid 1, going back playing through it just in the last couple of weeks. Every time I'd start the game, I'd be able to read a recap of what the hell I was doing. And that was just so useful for me because my brain just leaves.
Yeah.
It just fucking exits the building whenever I stop playing the game. I pick it back up. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. And I was right I was still on the tanker in the beginning. I had beaten Olga and I couldn't remember what to do next. That's where I quit playing. Yeah. I beat Olga and then I went to bed. I didn't play for another. Sorry. There are the allergies. Another couple of days. And I was like, all right, I have no idea what I'm supposed to be doing. So I'm calling, I'm the only person I can call is Otacon. And he's just like, this gun you're holding is this kind of a gun. I'm like, tell me what to do. I don't know what to do. I'm just running around. I have no idea what my objective is anymore because I'm old and addled and my brain doesn't work. Help me out here, game. Eventually, after, going to all the rooms, walking up and down the stairs over and over again, he was like, Metal Gear's and down below, go down. It's like, oh, you could have just told me that a fucking hour ago. Whatever.
Yeah.
So that was kind of frustrating that it didn't have those recaps anymore. But today, as I was working on several other video game related things, I was down here in the basement. I was like, everyone says that this is really unplayable next to the, and I'm just not seeing it. It seems fine to me. It's running at a steady frame rate. Everything looks nice in high definition. Like, I don't know what the problem is here. So I booted up the original one on PlayStation 2. And first off, holy shit, that game on PlayStation 2 still looks really fucking good. I've got my PS2 hooked up with an HD Retrovision cable on my CRT, my Trinitron. So it's fairly decent component setup to begin with, but like it's still on a CRT. And I have it just running right next to the Switch version. And like, it really still looks outstanding on the CRT. Like, holy cow, this is a pretty game. But it runs at a pretty solid 60 frames per second. And the Switch game is running at 30, which I didn't even notice. Like, in
that case, unplayable garbage, Chris.
Unplayable filth. But like, it looks fine when I'm playing it. If you compare it directly, next to each other, like as I did, it's like, okay, I see this one's moving smoother than that one. Like, I can recognize 60 frames per second. But as I'm playing this game, I'm not specifically noticing that it's not running at 60 FPS because I don't really care. It looks very nice and it's running smoothly. So it just didn't even occur to me that it was supposed to be running at 60 FPS. So I think that's where it's coming from, which I think is completely absurd because I've seen it. It's just been ripped apart for this. Like, how dare they release this in this condition? Like, but it's fine. I'm sure it could be better, but I don't know. It's still Metal Gear Solid 2. Like, it's still that game. It's not like they ruined it. Like, yes, it would be lovely if it ran at 60 FPS, but it runs at a pretty solid 30 FPS. So it's fine. I don't get it.
It's a really weird thing. I think it's really weird. I've never really noticed it impacting my gameplay one way or another.
Yeah, not the difference between 60 and 30. Like, when a game chugs seriously, like, I don't know, Contra, which we'll talk about a little bit, that's a different story. But this isn't that. This is I seriously didn't even recognize what the issue was until I had compared them side by side. And I think that's just where things get into a weird state. But anyways, Metal Gear Solid 2 is a very good game. It's
Is solid?
It's solid. And also, just for comparison's sake, I also booted up for the first time in, again, decades, Twin Snakes on the GameCube. And that one I have running through one of those Eon GCHD things. So it's running on the HDMI cable on my HD TV because the GameCube has that whole progressive scan mode. So it looks real nice. And that also, that's such a strange game because it really does look like Metal Gear Solid 2. Like, it's just, it's Metal Gear Solid 1, but Metal Gear Solid 2, which is such a strange thing. But yeah, that game's also really good. And
I really
sad
fucking
that we'll
love
probably
that
never
game.
see it again. I hope they find a way to make us get that one on modern platforms. I really do. Like, I know it's strange and partially broken in some ways because of the first person mode, but it's still like, and I like the music better in the PlayStation version than I do in the GameCube version. But that said, it's still the original Metal Gear Solid with vastly improved visuals, completely bug nuts cinematics. It's a neat game. It's a neat ass game. And
that's one that I'm really surprised there has not been like a fan remake of.
Yeah, that's a good point. I wonder why fans haven't remade Metal Gear Solid yet.
Smooth everything out and, update shit. Like, that seems like a game that fans would, or maybe there's just, I mean, it's definitely not that there's just like an outward respect for Kojima. And like, we just don't touch what he does, but I don't know.
So anyway,
Frozen hot chocolate was a good choice.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear that. So Metal Gear Solid 2, I think, is perfectly fine on the collection. Again, I don't think I'm going to make it through the whole thing because I have a bunch of reviews to do, and I don't know that I need to play through that game again. And I need to spend at least a couple hours with Metal Gear Solid 3 before I can write my review on it. I don't have a lot of word space for it, which is
okay.
Which is a thing. So I've got 4. Four? Is that what I've got? All right. So theoretically, I'm scheduled right now. Actually, I can just look at it. Where is my stuff? There it is. My assignments. So I am currently assigned reviewing the Llamasoft, the Jeff Minter story, Contra Operation Galuga,
which is awesome,
Princess Peach Showtime, and Metal Gear Solid Master Collection.
Yeah.
So
that's a decent amount of writing to do.
That's just those 4. I'm also, if I get the review code from Atari, who offered it and then asked me questions about it for Quamp 2, and I also got a review code for Attack of the Karens.
Nice.
So I've got a lot of writing ahead of me, so I don't know that I'm going to be able to 100% play through the last 2 games in this collection to write the reviews. But the thing is like, I only have 580 words for reviewing the Master Collection. So really,
that's not much.
Yeah, it's not a ton. I don't think what's going to happen is the plan is for me to review the content. Like, I have to mention the content, obviously, but I think the way I have to attack this is like, I need to review this collection. Like, how does this function?
As an overall package?
Exactly. And that's where I'm going to bring up stuff like, the lack of rewind and save states in the NES and MSX games and things to that effect. So it is an interestingly built collection. I will give it that. It is a very strangely built thing. But, bang for your buck. It is kind of hard to deny that this is a decent collection, even at $60 to get all those games.
Oh, for sure.
I think that's a pretty good bang for your buck there.
I almost bought it a couple weeks ago. Like, we were just, when we went out to dinner, which is not a thing we do very often. But there was a GameStop. We went to Applebee's because we're fucking bougie. And a couple stores down from the Applebee's, there is a GameStop. We walked in there, and they had a copy of the Metal Gear Solid collection, like a used copy for like $45 or whatever. And I was like, maybe. And Tiff looked at me. She goes, how many more fucking times are we going to buy those goddamn games? I said, as many as it fucking takes, woman. As long as they keep putting them out, I'm going to get them eventually. So I fucking love them. And yeah, I fully, to this day, believe that Metal Gear Solid 3 is still worth the $60 price tag. That game is fucking brilliant. It is like, for me, I would go so far as to say it's probably like a desert island game. You know, like I think that game is that good. So to get all of this other stuff for that price, really can't go wrong.
Yeah,
unless you hate Metal Gear, then you'd go really wrong.
Yeah, if you hate Metal Gear, then
don't buy it.
What are we doing? Yeah, then don't buy it. What are you doing
Why are we here?
This isn't going to convince you.
No, definitely not.
I've played these games before, and I don't like them. But I'm going to keep buying them.
I'm just going to keep on buying them. Yeah, I got to get it. I have to.
So
what else?
I guess I will. All right, let me move on to the Llamasoft, the Jeff Minter story.
Okay.
This has been an interesting trip for me because it is a fascinating story. Not like it has a lot of twists and turns. It's just fascinating for me because it's a whole video game culture that I am so completely unaware of. Like, this is the 1980s European PC market. So like, this is just so far outside of my knowledge base. So I find it utterly fascinating to try out these games. But what I'm learning, and I'm more than halfway through, I don't think I like this guy's games very much. Like, there's a reason I didn't play.
They don't look great for me. Like, just like looking at the games that are offered, it's like, I mean, this is cool, but I don't think I'm going to have any fun.
Well, you know, that's the thing. You don't buy this game just to have fun with the games. You buy it because you want to learn about what makes this important. You know, like the whole thing is a learning experience. This is buying a documentary, you know.
Right.
You're not buying this just for the documentary aspect of it. Sorry, just for the games aspect of it. So that's, I'm not going to say that I dislike this guy's games all that much. It's just, they're really not for me. There's a reason I didn't get into the PC scene during the 90s, because there's something, or even the stuff from earlier, they have a different sensibility, I think, from the kinds of games that I like. And Jeff Minter's stuff, at least this far into the game, is overly complex in a way that I don't find fun to play. I think they're all really interesting ideas. Like, Grid Runner is really neat. Grid Runner is like this sort of interesting take on Centipede. And there was this other one that I can't remember the name of it that I thought was really fun, where you were controlling these. It was like, I don't want to say like Space Invaders, but like you're controlling two ships at the same time that are moving on a vertical and horizontal axes, and you have to like shoot things from both of these at the same time to attack the things that are happening in the middle of the screen. It reminds me a lot of like some of the like I love Bit Trip Beat, but Bit Trip Core stresses me out. It's kind of like that. So, and some of his games are just like, I like to be able to look at a game and understand at least the core premise just by looking at it. But none of these games, not none of them, but a lot of his games aren't like that. They're just, well, here's a whole bunch of stuff with a whole bunch of rules, and you got to learn all this stuff. And it's like, that's not really the way I like to play games. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but it just doesn't speak to my sensibilities. You know, it's not for me. But on the opposite side of the spectrum, it has all been really interesting to get through, like looking at the evolution of how he created games and stayed independent throughout all of it, and all these pictures of these old European conventions, and talk about what the PC scene was like, and all these scans of his old newsletters. And it's like, this is an entire huge chunk of video game history that I have no frame of reference for. And it was happening somewhere else in the world while I was doing other things. And I just think it's super interesting. And again, it's super different from...
No, go ahead.
It's super different from Karateka, whereas Karateka was like, you're seeing the evolution of how this game got made. And this is instead a look at this guy's entire career. So it's like, here's his ripoff of Centipede. Here's his take on something else, that he's done something else. And that's what he calls them. Like, that's because that's what they were. They were imitation, the sincerest form of flattery. Is like, well, this game was popular. Right. I want to do that, but I want to change it up by doing this. And make it work on these computers instead of arcade systems. It's all very interesting, but as I go, it's like, I don't think I'm really a huge fan of his work. I just think it's interesting. Which is enough. I mean, it's enough to recommend the game. Like, you're interested in video game history. Like, I'm having a blast learning about it, but I'm not spending like any time playing the games. I'll play them for like a minute or two and be like, no, this is not for me. And then I'll read something being like, yeah, and you really need to learn these things. And once they click with you, then you're having a good time. It's like, yeah, but I don't want to climb that mountain. Like, I just don't have any interest in climbing that. I have no interest in getting good at this. I see what you want me to get out of this.
Right.
It's just not me. So it's an interesting experience.
Yeah. Well, and what I was going to say, like, it's kind of wild. Like, if you really sit down and think about it, we get so kind of mired in our own, like, cultures and subcultures and whatever, where, you know, like you were talking about with the Super Mario Brothers video that you were working on, of like how much you're still learning about this, of like, it's a whole other fucking world. You know, like, it's not just us here in America and we're the only ones that are important and all this stuff. Like, even though we talked to Ali and he's like, you know, brought up things and about, you know, like growing up playing MSX games and all of that stuff. And when we had Steve and the guys on about, you know, fucking Ninja Baseball Batman and the comic that they're doing and how different things were over in Europe and some of the other people. But like, it really is just this entire other, it might as well be another fucking universe, you know, for us where we are currently. Like, it just doesn't, it's very, very odd that this kind of, and it's kind of cool. I think that this communal experience that those of us who love this medium have had is so vastly different based upon location. Like, that's really just kind of nuts. Even looking at something like the MSX, of like, that was not a thing here.
Just not a thing. Never even clicked in my life at all.
Nope.
It was fucking wild.
Not a thing that anybody in North America gave a shit about. Or maybe in South America. I don't know.
Radar.
Wasn't on any of our radars. But the rest of the world is huge. Massive. Big deal. We're like, fuck it. Fuck it and fuck you. That's where we're at.
All right, I guess I'll touch on Attack of the Karens real quick.
Okay.
So, as you may know, I am married to a woman named Karen.
I am aware. I've heard the rumors.
She is less than thrilled with the situation in the world, with what has happened to her name.
Sure.
That her name has become emblematic of entitled white women everywhere. And really, who can blame her?
Yeah. Yeah.
So when I was offered the review code...
What happened?
When I was offered the review code for... When I first saw the trailer for this, I was like, oh man, she's going to hate this. But this is from Flynn's Arcade, so I figured they were going to offer me a review code because they tend to offer me codes for all their games. And sure enough, they did. And it's like, all right, yeah, I'm into this. I will review this one. This one's probably not going to make it into the magazine, but I'll review it for Stone Age Gamers, where I've been doing other reviews for their games. And it's pretty neat. I only played a couple of minutes of it, but it's pretty neat so far. It's very, very goofy. Because it would have to be, right? It's
one
like
would imagine.
4 entitled white women are standing around a mall looking for managers to call or whatever, and then like some weird space virus shows up and turns them all into cyborgs. And so you join some like anti-Karen space force to take down the cybernetic Karens. And fight entitlement.
The AKSF? Yeah.
It's funny so far. It seems like a pretty basic shooter, but it's got some decent music. It's got an entertaining personality. I certainly don't hate it so far, but I don't have a ton to say about it yet because I've only put a couple of minutes in. But it is a thing.
That's fun. I like that.
Yeah. It is. It's fun. It's interesting. We'll see where it goes. I'm very curious about the Quamp thing. Like, I thought that game looked really neat. That's, sequel to Pong sort of thing they got cooking on.
Yeah.
But so I asked them the day it came out, and I was like, oh, I would like to review this game. It looks really interesting, and I write for Nintendo Force, and if you give me a review code, I can get it into the magazine. And
so you're swinging it around a little bit.
Yeah,
Kris motherfucking Randazzo.
What I've learned is that, you can just ask for review codes. If you have an excuse, you can just ask for them. So I've started doing that for games that I'm interested in. And they got back to me.
Can you ask for one for Stellar Blade? I don't want to pay $70 for it. It's the PlayStation 5 game that's coming out.
Right.
No, you don't have a good reason to ask for it, but,
I can't write for Nintendo Force.
Can I have one anyway?
So they got back to me, like, midweek last week. Like, that I had asked about this game, like, a week and a half ago, and they got back to me and, like, well, could you send us an example of where the review is going to get what the YouTube channel or whatever the blog's going to get posted on? And it's like, it's not a blog or a YouTube channel. I said it in the first email. I write for Nintendo Force magazine. You've given us review code. You know what that is. You've given us review codes before. So I'm not sure what this is about. So I submitted my information about Nintendo Force magazine, and I asked Lucas just to make sure, like, if I get the code for this, can we write about it in the magazine? It's like, yeah, absolutely. Either this one or the next one, we'll make that happen. And so like, all right, cool. We forwarded this to the right people, and we'll get back to you. I'm like, dude, it's a fucking review code. Like,
why are we making a fucking meal out of this?
Yeah, what's going on here? Why is this such a thing? I'm trying to find the email again of like what they said. Thank you for sharing the required details. We have shared your request to the respective team regarding your query. Once we have received a response, we will get back to you. Like, wow.
Never mind. I don't even want it now.
That was an email.
You guys are being fucking weird about this.
That was a real interesting sentence. Like, okay, I mean, cool. If you want to, you could have just said no.
Written, got it. Got it would have been fine.
Yeah.
No. No would have been fine.
That not going to break my heart or make me stop liking
Fuck
Atari.
Your whore mouth. Like, whoa, Jesus, guys, but okay.
That's a bit harsh, but I'll take it. I understand.
Yeah, I mean, doesn't seem warranted for simply asking for a review code, but I mean, maybe, sure, maybe there were things I hadn't considered.
So I guess that just leaves what's the last one? Where's my notes? Contra. Contra. So I got the review code for Contra, which it amused me. My Lucas, he asked if I wanted to attack the review aggressively. It's like, yes.
Yes.
This guy gets it. This guy gets it. So it's like, and my immediate thought was like, well, I do have a lot on my plate already, but you know what? Let's do this. I'm not going to turn down a Contra review. Let's do this thing. I'm pretty well suited to review this game. I know Contra. Let's get to work. So he sent me the review code. He's like, here's the review code, and here's this other code for like the early purchaser stuff that you get. He wasn't really sure what it was. It turns out it's a bunch of like alternate music tracks, which is really neat. But he said there's a big update coming out for it, so maybe don't play it until the update hits, because I know there's a bunch of technical problems with the game. So I waited for the update,
it runs
which went
like
live.
shit.
Went live yesterday, and so I started playing it, and it is different from the demo, structurally speaking. Like the story mode runs differently than the demo. After you beat the those two walls or whatever, it doesn't just go straight into the waterfall stage. In fact, I haven't even gotten to the waterfall stage yet. Like it just moves on to a different chunk of the story. Like it's a different beast. It runs 30 frames per second, and as I'm playing it, I'm like, I'm dying more than I feel like I should. And then eventually I figured it out. It's input lag. Like there's brutal input lag in this game. So I asked Lucas, like, do you have, who's your contact at Way Forward? I would like to ask them, like, I've got time on this review. Are they aware of this issue, and are they going to push out another update to fix this input lag problem? Because I have to say, outside of that, I really like this game. The more I play it, the bosses I've fought so far, the stages, it is so Contra in just the best way possible. It is so ridiculous that it's the problems with the difficulty because of the input lag are not that hard to overlook, and they're not as hard to overlook as you would expect them to be because of how awesome everything else is. Like, it's just a really fucking cool game. So
I'm having such a good time that I can look past this bullshit, which is rare.
It is. So I messaged their contact at Way Forward, and they said that they had
we have received your query and forwarded it to the appropriate department.
They wondered if it had something to do with it being played off of the SD card instead of off the internal memory. And I tested that theory and was like, no, that's not the problem. But they also had mentioned something along the lines of that it was, moving and stuff wasn't a problem. And I was like, that's interesting, because I do the jumping, right? And I'm thinking, all right, so there's just straight up input lag. But then I started playing the game again. I was like, no, it's just the jumping. Moving, navigating menus, shooting, that's all fine. It's just jumping that has input lag. Like, you press the button. That's
really weird.
And then like a quarter second later, that's when they jump. And that's unacceptable in a game like this. I keep dying anytime there's any kind of platforming because like I'm trying to get away from things, or I'm trying to dodge something and I press the button and I don't dodge it. The update did solve a lot of the technical issues. It runs at a more stable 30 FPS. It's not completely stable, but it's a more stable 30 FPS. And it's I've been trying to figure out how to word this like all day. I've been thinking about like, how do I even explain this? So it's like, no matter how choppy things are on the screen, they've focused on making it so that you don't feel it in the controls. Like, there was a stage where I'm on these like jet bikes or something, and the background started chugging a bit more, but my character's movement didn't stop at all. Like, I kept moving at a better frame rate than the rest of the game, because that was what was important.
So they optimized the character movement versus
Exactly. They optimized character movement at the expense of other things so that the game doesn't feel like you're behind. Even if you are, you don't feel like you're missing stuff.
Huh.
So that's a really good way of doing that, I think. Because the game does, as long as you're not jumping, the game feels really good to play. It's really fun, but it's such a weird technical thing. And I do hope with all of my heart that they get this fixed. Oh, $38.15. It finally popped. $38.15. Now, here's hoping I got it on both devices.
Yeah.
I don't think I did.
I do think
I'm caught in these free spins.
Because you had posted a query to the Discord earlier about buying it physically and not having a PlayStation 5 or a Series, whatever. And are you going to buy it physically for Switch? And I thought about it, and I think what you should do is I think you should buy it for whichever of the modern consoles you think you will end up with next. Because you don't have a PlayStation 5 now, but you will at some point.
I might someday.
I mean, you definitely will. You'll have a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox Series at some point. You are a collector whore. You will... excuse me. You will end up with one of these at some point. So buy the game for whatever platform you think you're going to end up with.
Yeah, that's not a terrible idea.
I don't know that makes a ton of sense of buying a game for a system that you don't own yet, but I don't think it's going to be another decade before you own it, and it's Contra. You're always going to want to go back and play a Contra game, especially this one that seems to be so good. You know,
right? Because I went and fired up Contra 4 again, just for the sake of playing this one and just having a direct comparison. And I was like, God, this game is so good, but I don't ever want to play this again because I just can't. I just can't do it on the 3DS. My hands can't play a game like Contra on a 3DS anymore. I just don't have it in me. I need to have a proper controller in my hands, which is a bummer because I fucking love Contra 4. I really love that game. And this one, if it can get its shit together, will be that. But
yeah,
I don't know where it's going to land. Like, there's going to be more updates. There's no question about that.
Sure, of course.
So do I just bite the bullet and get it on Switch because that's the platform I like to play it on? I don't know.
I don't know. That doesn't seem like the best idea, if we're being honest. It seems like...
But, like, that's the thing. Buying it on a system that I don't own, or... I can't say with any certainty that I will ever own a PlayStation 5. I'm just not there anymore in my life. Like, that system's a lot of money. No matter how, but no matter when this happens, unless it's like 20 years down the road, like, PlayStation 5s are going to be hundreds of dollars for quite a long time. And there are so many other things in my life that I will need to spend hundreds of dollars on. Like, the next Nintendo system, absolutely, I'm going to do that. But dropping a couple $100s on a game system that I might play one game on, that I could play a slightly worse version of on a different platform, like, I don't know. And we don't know what the Switch 2's, what the Switch successor is going to be like. Maybe it'll be optimized for that platform just fine. And I'll be able to play my older version in better form on the new system. Like, I don't know.
The problem is, though, is that it is a limited print game, right?
It's through limited run, but I don't think this is one of their, like, numbered limited ones. I think this is one of the ones that's also going to be in, like, Best Buy and stuff, like the Castlevania and Contra collections and whatnot.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know what to do yet. But it's an interesting game. I'm glad I got the review code, because worst case scenario, I do have it digitally. So that's not going anywhere unless for some reason, unless something goes horribly awry and they take away my digital downloads, which we all know is a potential possibility now, but I would say unlikely at this point. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. I don't think
exactly
you can
what to
ever
do.
say anything with Nintendo is unlikely.
They'll
It's
do
just-
what I expect them to. There you go.
Yeah.
That's what's unlikely.
There you go.
So Contra's interesting. I'm looking forward to playing more of it. But the biggest thing that I did this week involving video games is I reorganized my basement. I moved around all the furniture because
Right.
I haven't been thrilled with the way my product overview videos have looked of late.
Okay.
Really in general. Like I've been
Ryan
taking
and
a
I were
very-
talking about that in the meeting last week.
Right.
Yeah. It was something
Really-
we were going to
really
bring up.
dropping the ball.
I'm glad. Yeah, I'm glad you brought it up because Ryan and I were like, "Oh, who's going to tell him?" It's like, I don't know, Ryan. Like, you're kind of the boss, but like, I'm his friend. Like, I know it's weird. You know, it was very awkward between me and Rai.
The conversation did come. I actually spoke to Ryan a bunch about video stuff this week because we were both kind of. Ryan reached out to me to tell me that he really liked the Mario video, and that that's always nice to hear. You know, when your boss reaches out to you and says you're doing good work. But he's as puzzled as me on like, I don't know how we crack the YouTube code because it's as good as anything else you'd find on YouTube, but nobody's seeing it. So he started doing some research into things that we can do to try to optimize the channel a little bit better and use keywords and stuff to try to get it to show up in more searches. And it's at 387 views. I know there are plenty of YouTube channels out there that would be like, that's a lot of views, but like for the amount of effort I put into it and the amount of subscribers we have, it's ridiculous. Yeah. Like we have like 8,491 current subscribers.
That's a pretty decent number. It's not huge, but it's pretty decent.
It's not huge, but only 387 of them have even clicked on the video. That means that I don't know what that means. Like that's such a tiny percentage. It's so bizarre. So I did have a little bit more luck in the shorts department.
Okay,
which is where I had some fun conversations. So one of the things that I've been doing is taking our pieces of my long form videos and turning them in and putting them up as shorts. And those do a lot better. The short that I made out of one tiny piece of the Mario video is currently at just shy of 10,000 views.
Okay.
So that's a pretty significant
that's really good
increase over the 370 or whatever. And that was also really fun because my fear when putting up something like this is that I'm going to get something terribly wrong and somebody's going to be like, this is factually incorrect, you dope. And
you fucking moron. You don't know shit.
That very, very much warmed my heart where some people tried to do that. And I was able to say, no, sir, that is not what I'm saying, nor are you correct. And this
bitch.
One guy just straight up said those last two are incorrect. And I was able to factually back up with receipts why it was correct and then say, so no, they are not incorrect. And that felt very good.
But could you just fucking imagine? Could you just imagine? Like somebody puts all this work into something and you're like, no, wrong.
Wrong.
Like, fuck you. Oh my God. It's like going back to anyway, that's a tangent that I'm not going to go down. I'm just not. We'll let it go.
But anyway, reining it back in. The point of all this was that I started looking at other channels that do product overviews, and the way they handle them is so much different than the way I do it. And I think that might help me if I start doing them that way, which is to have them be more scripted. What I tend to do is a very off the cuff unboxing kind of approach. Like, all right, I'm just going to say what I see and then demo it in action and record my live reactions to it working. And what I'm seeing is like, so the backgrounds that people have tend to have like, here's more of the room instead of just like, here's me standing in front of a wall of games here's me standing in front of a room full of stuff, and it looks a lot nicer. Right. But I've never been able to do that with my previous setup because no matter where I could put the camera, one of my funky old ass couches would always be in the shot. So no matter how nice all the stuff I have against the walls look, every shot would always have this gross ass couch that came with the house in there because I can't afford to replace it.
I don't know. Maybe if you like laid down on the couch though, like kind of sexy. And over here,
I don't want to scare subscribers away. I want more people to watch them.
Oh, sorry. I'll come over and lay on the couch.
There you go.
I'll be in the background of all your videos from now on. That's right.
Just sitting in the background eating popcorn.
Yeah, just fucking around.
So, I started like looking around the room, like, all right, well, I watched some of the My Life in Gaming videos, and I was looking at their setup, and I thought, I could do better. Let me start moving some things and seeing what they look like, right? Because I had my setup really built around the basic structure of how the basement was set up when I moved in here, which was all kind of built around the TV being in this one specific spot where it's wired up for a projector. But similar to the PlayStation situation, I'm just not going to have a spare several $100s to throw at a nice enough projector to make it worth watching there instead of on one of my televisions.
Right.
For the foreseeable future. So that I'm limiting what I can do with this space because of that seems awfully silly to me. I decided to just like, all right, I'm just going to take the projector out of the equation. How do I want this room to be? And I wound up shifting everything, both of the TVs onto the same wall next to each other, but separated by the shelf with all the classic game consoles on them. And I am so much happier with the flow of the room down here. I moved the arcade cabinet out of the corner. It's now flat against one of the walls. It just seems to be taking up so much less space and is a bit more accessible. So like the room is kind of really divided into halves. It's like that half is the pool table and all the kids' toys and stuff. And then this half is like a miniature living room with two TV setups side by side. And the couches are now a lot closer to the TVs, which also makes them so much more playable. I've just been down here
because we're old.
And not even just that, but like the retro game systems, I'd need controller extensions and stuff for because the couch was so far away, and now it's less of an issue. I can sit back on the couch and not only see the screen better, but not need to be like leaning forward because the damn controllers don't reach, or having to use some sort of dongle to do wireless. So it's been real nice. One of the issues that I had been having with the previous setup was like I had it kind of divided into two different areas entirely, one for the CRT and one for the HD TV. And I had a second carpet in here that didn't really match the room at all. Now I don't need a second rug because it's all one area, and so I kept the nicer looking rug, and it's just making me real happy. I can watch TV down here more comfortably. The dog's just kind of sleeping there in the corner, all donutted up. And the kids think it's really cool too. So I'm very happy with it. Rejiggered my entire game room, and it was a lot of friggin' work because moving a whole bunch of furniture around by yourself is not the easiest thing in the world to do. Like Karen came downstairs, like I told her, I was like, I'm moving stuff around in the basement. I'm redecorating the basement. I hope you don't mind. And then she came down like at 2 p.m. and was like, you said that you were redecorating the basement. I didn't know what you meant. Fortunately, she's happy with it too. So
nice.
Hooray.
That is the one thing I dislike about the house that we bought. Because I like to rearrange. I like to move stuff around. And my living room, there is literally no other configuration.
Right.
There's just no other way to do it. Yeah. Yeah, very similar to yours. Of like,
there's some play, I think. Yeah, the TV's got to be where it is. It has to be where it is. I've been in your living room. There's nowhere else you could do that.
There's just not. And like when the house was originally built in the 50s, the wall where like walking into the kitchen, that is where the small ass TV used to go, and you would put the couch in front of the windows and like maybe a love seat along the other wall and whatever. That's just not a thing we can do anymore. You know, like with the way TVs are built now, it has to go. Like my living room will always have to be long ways. And when you need a controller extension to sit on your couch the old way you had your living room set up, you've been in my living room. You need 2 or 3 controller extensions to get to my couch, maybe. That is how fucking far away it is from the television. Because there is no other way to do it.
Not without covering a fucking window, you know? Like, there's no other good way to do it.
No, there's
plenty of bad ways to arrange your living room.
I would have to put up a wall because like my living room it's an open concept. I would have to wall off my dining room to make a big enough wall to put a television on to then put a TV close to it. Like, it would be so fucking weird. That's the only thing that bums me out. Like, every other room in the house, things can be moved around. The dining room, the bedrooms, even my office down here. Like, I can move everything around. Living room, it will be like that until we are no longer in this house. But it will be like that for the person who moves in after us. They will have to put it the same exact way.
Now they're going to put a fireplace in there.
Put a fireplace right up into the kid's bedroom. That'll be great. That's why we have a fake fireplace there. There's no place for a fireplace.
There you go.
No place for a fireplace. Yeah. Anyway, I could just turn it into a sitting parlor, I suppose, and take the downstairs back from the dogs. But
you could.
Who wants to do all that?
Sounds like work. So an issue that I'm running into right now is like, I ran this past the folks in the Discord, and I wound up going with there was a few votes for just putting a bunch of Atari consoles. So like there was this set of shelves where I had a bunch of the modern consoles that were set up for the TV, and I wound up going with the one that
had no opinion. It's like
I wound up going with the group that has the different consoles of that generation instead of lining up the Atari ones. And I'll tell you why. The Atari one got a couple of votes in the Discord. I hate the way my 5200 looks. I hate the way the 5200 looks in general. If that system was like 20% smaller, it would be okay. But as I was looking at that lineup, like, it is just so fucking huge. Between the 2600 and the 7800, it's just this massive beast. And I hate it. But this look here, I get to put out the Channel F, which is an interesting conversation piece. And the ColecoVision on the top shelf looks great because that has like the most recognizable part of the ColecoVision console is that the front of it with that silver that says ColecoVision on it. So that's up on the top, and that looks fine up there.
I do love the way that one looks.
I also really love the way the Odyssey 2 looks. And so having Channel F and Television Odyssey 2, 2600, and ColecoVision lined up, it's like, here's that whole generation where I started gaming. I think it makes for a really good presentation. And like, no, they're not hooked up, but they're not in my closet either. They're just display pieces here. So that's fine because, you know, how often am I really going to play Odyssey 2? But it's nice to have it out. But as far as things that are actually hooked up, this is where I'm running into an issue. Now, I'm rewiring all the systems and because I moved the TV across the room. And as I'm playing Metal Gear Solid 2 today, I went through and found all my old memory cards and was making sure all of them worked. And I was like, the problem that I have is, yes, anytime I want to play, what I should do is have my backwards compatible PS3 hooked up. And that would be the end of that, right? That plays my PS2 and my PS1 games. It doesn't play them great, though. I want to play those games on a CRT, right? PS1 and PS2 were designed for CRT TVs. They're not designed for HD TVs. And I have this nice CRT, so that's where I want to play those. So the PS3 is actually boxed up right now because I just don't have a space for it anymore. And if I want to play a PS3 game, those are Those play in PS4, right? Is that backwards compatible? No? Okay.
No.
Well, it hasn't come up for a while, so...
There's a bunch on like PlayStation Plus and whatever, but no. You cannot put a PS3 disc in. Yeah.
All right. Well, it's in my closet. It's not far away, but it's over there.
Yeah.
And I haven't had the need to play a PlayStation 3 game in fucking ever. So
I can't imagine the PS3 game where you'd be like, nope, yep, got to pull it out.
Yeah, like I play from that generation. I play the 360 more than the PS3, which even then doesn't really come up all that often. But so the 360 I kept out. It's not hooked up because I don't want to leave that plugged in all the time because it's just this weird energy suck thing, that giant power brick. So that's just kind of there. Underneath the HD TV, this is where I'm getting at. Underneath the HD TV, I have 4 slots. I have the Xbox One, the Xbox One, the PlayStation 4, the Atari VCS, and then in the 4th slot, I have the Xbox 360. Okay. On the retro side, on the CRT side, I have a PS2. But every time I want to play a PlayStation 1 game, I tend to pull out a PlayStation 1, unhook the PS2, and put the PS1 in there. Because...
That's weird.
It's weird, but let me explain it to you. And I don't think you'll disagree with me. I would say a good 25 to 30% of the overall enjoyment experience of playing PlayStation 1 games is that fucking startup screen.
You're not wrong.
There's nothing like turning it on and just... Like, there's nothing like it. And when you put those games in PS2 or PS3, that doesn't happen. You just get the second half of it. And like, well, what are we fucking doing here? It's the same thing with the Master System. I can play Master System games on my Genesis, but if I want to play a Master System game, I'm going to plug in my Master System because I want like, that's so much of the joy of playing those specific systems. So that when
it's that very specific dopamine hit.
It is. Like, I have always, ever since I was a kid, I've always loved that Master System startup screen. And PlayStation 1 startup screen is probably the best thing ever. Like, I don't think there's ever been
really
one that's better than
great.
That. Like, I really like the Dreamcast one, the Saturn one. I even kind of dig the original Xbox one. But that PlayStation 1, the PlayStation 2 is very iconic as well. Like, I don't want to lose that either. And again, I don't think you don't get that through the PlayStation 3. You don't get that that weird noise and like that thought process of putting discs in your PlayStation 2 and then wondering if they're going to read. You know, like you're sitting there, like the anticipation, watching those little balls spin around, like, oh, is it going to read the disc? Is it going to read the disc, or is it going to go to the movie?
Does it work this time?
You just don't get that with doing the backwards compatible PlayStation 3 thing. So like, it is a very strange specific thing. So I'm wondering to myself, what do I take down in order to have a PS1 and a PS2 hooked up at the same time? And on one side, I'm thinking like, well, I could take the 3DO down. I don't play the 3DO like fucking ever, but it's also such a
ridiculous
neat
thing
system
to have up. Yeah,
it is, but it's a ridiculous like thing.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like in a good way.
So the question is, should I get rid of the 3DO and replace it with a PlayStation 1? Because it's weird to say, because like I play PlayStation 1 way more than I play 3DO, even though I have PS2 right there next to it. And the other thing that bothers me is that everything on this set of shelves is black. So if I throw a PS1 in there, it's going to stick out like a sore freaking thumb.
You could spray paint it. Which
I wonder if I could put it somewhere else. Actually, I have
which
a little
3DO do you have?
The one that's out right now is the Panasonic one. I have a Gold Star too, which is nice looking. I think I like the look of this one better. So
is the Gold Star is the one with the flip up top?
No, that's
Panasonic is the slide out.
The Panasonic Real one is the flip top. Both I have the front loading Panasonic and front loading Gold Star with the drawer.
Okay. Oh yeah. All right. Sorry. Give me some fucking credit for remembering that there was at least a fucking flip up one.
Yeah, there's what?
3DO.
I think there were four. I think there were 3 main ones in the U.S. and then 4 overall.
Yeah.
What are the other? What's the? Because I always wanted that real one, the Panasonic real one with the flip top. I always wanted that stupid one.
That one looks like a Sega console.
But it looks like a console. It looks like a video game console more than the Gold Star and the what is it? The FZ1, I think, is the one that I have. I don't remember. I never remember their names. But regardless,
I just looked it up. I do not like the Gold Star one. I don't like the gray with the black. However,
it doesn't look so bad when you're just looking at the front of it. You know, I don't like the big dopey circle on the top. I'm not a big fan of that.
It's weird.
Yeah, it doesn't look too bad when it's a...
It's a weird choice. I was going to say, though, if you put, like... Is there something else you could take away to put the Gold Star and the PlayStation 1? Because then there would at least be some more gray to it?
Well, all right, here's the deal.
Is that an option?
I'm going to move the mic so I can look at this shelf a little bit better. It's hidden behind my CRT now, which I can't really see. All right, so at the top... I have this lineup of Nintendo and Sega, right? So I have Master System 2, which isn't connected to anything. That's just there to be ornamental. But I have the Master System 2 next to the NES. And then I have a Genesis next to the Super Nintendo. And Saturn next to the N64. Dreamcast next to GameCube. I just like that lineup of Nintendo versus Sega, right?
Sure.
I could yoink the Master System 2... since that's not connected to anything, and put a PlayStation 1 there, but that totally screws up the whole vibe of the shelf. I don't want to have the PS1 not next to the PS2. That would just be wrong. Mean.
That'd be weird.
Horrible.
Yeah.
So I'm looking elsewhere on this TV, and I could... What I have underneath the TV, like the TV stand itself, I have an Xbox that is also currently not connected to anything, because I don't have any functioning Xboxes right now. Like, I have 3 Xboxes, the Halo Edition, and then the Halo Edition, which I bricked, because there was the whole thing with you're supposed to do a simple, remove this thing inside of it, because otherwise the systems are all killing themselves. And then I opened up the green one, and then I was like, wait, I don't see this in here. Oh, it's not. That's not this. I just opened this for no reason, and now I bricked it. So I'm a fucking dope in that department. I'll get it fixed one of these days. I'm going to send it into Stone Age Gamer to hopefully fix someday. But so the Xbox isn't connected to anything. That's on top of my CDI. That's not going anywhere. Which is on top of my component selector. That's not going anywhere. Then I have the original Master System on top of VCR.
Okay.
There's not really any room for a PlayStation 1 there either. I have a Wii hooked up to this TV. Yeah, I can't really do a vertical version of that either. Yeah, there's just not a good solution here for a PlayStation 1, other than to just connect it whenever I want to use it, which just seems like a silly way of approaching it without taking that. Because I'm not going to take off the Jaguar, because I'm too much of an Atari nerd to not have the Jaguar out on display.
Yeah.
But it's, the 3DO is a point of fascination for me, and I don't want to take off the TurboGrafx. So,
I just sent you a picture in the chat, which I know is great podcasting. But I think what the solution here is that you need more TVs and more systems out. I don't think you have enough.
Well, I'm not going to argue with you there. I don't think I can do this setup.
I don't know, Chris.
See, the problem with
certainly.
The problem with this setup is that he's got all these. They've got all these TVs, but none of them are as big as my Trinitron. I don't want to put a bunch of smaller CRTs out. I'd rather have everything connected to this one big beefy boy here. But I don't know what else I would connect to it, right? Because the only thing left, I'm not going to connect all these old systems, because anytime I want to play them, I will just connect them when I want to use them, right? I don't need those at my beck and call at every moment to be plugged in. And I just don't need that. It
Right.
comes up too rarely. So in my closet, the only other things that I can think of to even hook up are like the Sega CD and the 32X. I don't have a tower of power sitting out anywhere.
Right.
But yeah, there's no other platforms back there that are just like hidden. Like I've got, my 7800 isn't regularly hooked up. Again, I don't play 7800 all that often, and when I do now, it's easier to just use the 2600 plus if I'm going to mess around with anything like that.
Right.
Right. But if I do want to use the 7800, it's very easy to just grab it and plug it in through the front here, just like any of the other old systems. But yeah, I don't think.
Yeah,
there's
I think that's honestly
PS3.
your answer is have like an extra cord set up or an extra couple of cords that you can just kind of plug and play and swap when you need to.
I do wish. I don't know that I could fill another set of shelves with it, but like there's the the PlayStation 3 is not out. So it's a PlayStation 3 is not up, and PlayStation 1 is not up, and then a handful of Atari systems. So 7800 and 5200 ST. So what's that?
But what about
PS3?
What about handheld systems?
Oh, I don't have any of those.
I know
on
you wouldn't
display.
hook them up to the TV, but they could be out on display. They look kind of cool. Like if you're looking for an excuse to get an additional shelving unit, and like, what else am I going to put on here? You could do the whole plethora of handheld systems that you have.
I know I've tried messing with that, and I haven't found a good solution as far as making them stand up and look decent. And the other trouble is that I don't know where I would do that. I don't have a good spot to do that anymore. Even if I put another shelf in here, I don't know what other shelving unit I could get that works within the space confines that I have. Which is
Sounds like you need to learn how to build your own custom cabinetry and shelves, Chris.
Well, it's
Put
not
that
about
on the docket
building.
with all
It's
your free
not
time.
about- I built shelves in my closet. Damn it! It's not about.
Oh no, I know, but we're
it's
talking
not
about
about
YouTube
that.
shelves. YouTube shelves are a whole other thing.
It's less about that and more about like just a lack of physical space. Like there's only so much room in this basement. Like if I were to build shelves going out, here's the trouble I have right here. I'm looking at this spot right now. Again, you can't really see it on the podcast, but there's this gap that opens up into the room.
You say you can't really see it, as if you could see it a little bit. Like you can't really see it because it's like over here and it's like kind of obscured, but like you can kind of see it a bit. If you look hard.
I'm pointing to it too. I'm turned and I'm pointing at it.
It's over here. Yeah. No, I can see. I can see it.
So the
I'm
way
with
it's
you.
set up, it's an L-shaped couch, right? And so it's like there's this little entryway that gets you into this area. The shelf that I have across from it is a really thin media shelf, because anything thicker than that is going to make that entryway seem tight, and that's kind of what I'm trying to avoid. I don't want to stack that out too much more. Now, the thing that I have, the entertainment center I have my HD TV on, that has the Xbox One, the PlayStation 4, the VCS, and the 360 on it. It just has those four because those shelves are not quite wide enough to fit two systems on, but they're too wide. They're wide enough so that I really like the presentation of this. They have the system and then their controller next to them. It's a really nice look. It's a nice clean look, but that's about the best I can do with those shelves. I can't fit multiple systems on them. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I know. The first worldiest of first world problems.
Seriously, yeah. At any rate,
yeah, no, but it matters. It's not unimportant. It matters. This is your setup and livelihood, and all of that. Like I get it. I mean, I don't get it because I just don't have all that shit. But like, I mean, I get it. Like I suppose, like with the action figures and all. And we've talked about expanding the Jose Canseco Executive Annex, because the way it works in my split level, and you were here, like you walk downstairs into the lower half of the house, and then you walk out into the garage, and then immediately make a right. And in the back of the garage, there is a room. But you have to go through another door to get into the Jose Canseco Executive Annex. And it's probably, I don't know, it's garage width, right? So like whatever the width is of that, 8 feet, 9 feet, probably more than that, I would guess. But I don't know. I'm not an architect. And then it's probably like 6 feet, it's garage length or left to right. And then deep in the back of the room, it's probably 7 feet, maybe. And we've talked about pushing the wall that is up out into the garage so that when you open the door from the downstairs living room, you will like walk into the executive annex, and then there will be a door to walk out into the garage if you want to, like not having to go to the garage first. And if we did that, that would give me probably another 3.5, almost 4 feet lengthwise. And I don't know what the fuck else I would put in here. I don't know what I would do with that space. It seems great of like, yeah, I would love a bigger office, but would I?
Yeah, exactly. Like,
I don't know I would need to buy more shit to put in it because like I really don't have anything else. I suppose I could come, borrow some old retro video game systems and get a couch and, put up a fucking CRTV or a CRT
I gotta get
TV.
more of those shoe shelves for the Amiibo, because one of the things that happened when I rejiggered all this stuff is that I moved my bookshelves, the Billy bookcases that had my games on them.
Yeah.
And now they're covering up some of the shelves I have set up that have the Amiibo on them. So like 8 of my Amiibo are no longer viewable. I did wind up getting that Guardian Amiibo too. That was kind of neat. That showed up in the mail.
Nice.
Yeah, I was able to snag one for normal price. No scalper prices here. Just a regular priced Guardian Amiibo, and it's super cool. But I think considering it's 11:30 now, we should probably get on to the news, huh?
Get on the week old news now that we're 2 hours into the podcast.
Yes. All right, everyone, it is time.
There's a good 20 minutes there that can probably be cut out.
That's true. But right now, it's time for week old news. I think it's time to do a quick check-in. Actually, let's see. What was the Chicken Wiggle release date? Sorry, the Hatch Tales release date that he said.
Oh, yeah.
Hatch Tales. What was that? March 28th, 2024. It is now March 15th as we record this. March 28th, 2024 is when he said this game is going to get released as Hatch Tales. Now, here's my concern. I've joined the Atui Discord, and there hasn't really been much said about Hatch Tales in the Discord. There's been no sort of trailer for this new game in any way, shape, or form. But what was
that is coming out in 13 days?
What was brought to my attention is that there was for Kickstarters, you're supposed to get your name in the credits, and at a certain point, they're supposed to ask you how you want your name displayed in the credits. That hasn't happened yet.
Ooh, that's not a great sign.
Either they're going to release this game without crediting the backers like they promised, which
that tracks.
That tracks, but kind of shitty. Or this game's not coming out March 28th, and I am just, just what a delicious story it is. It continues to be the gift that keeps on giving. Oh my God! Let's see. Has there been anything on Kickstarter? Let's see. Let's take a look. Let's take a gander at the old Hatch Tales, the Chicken Wiggle workshop for Nintendo Switch.
Take a quick look-see.
The last update was September 27th, 2023. Doing a bang-up job there, guys. And still, let's see. Some people have been commenting as of like 9 days ago. And so, no news, no nothing. I don't know, man. I'm starting to get the feeling this game might not release on time.
You think?
I'm starting to have an inkling there might be a problem.
Very, very possible. Very.
Anyways,
possible. Can I tell you my favorite story of the week? Because I'm pretty sure it is not on your radar. I'm pretty sure it's not. I don't know that it's not, but okay. So, I have talked about a few different times the game Stellar Blade that I am excited for coming to the PlayStation 5. And it is anime bullshit. The game, the main hero character is like just a way hotter, sexier version of Bayonetta. All of those good things, right? Okay. Now, there is a skin that you can get for the character that makes her look nude. Okay? If you equip this skin, it makes the game harder. And I find that to be just delightful.
Is that like, what's it, similar to the picking a black character in that South Park game?
Yes. Actually, yeah. I totally forgot about that. But yeah. Very similar to that. Which is just absurd and wonderful and all of the things that I like about video games, like recognizing what it is and having fun with it. And then, of course, there were like the flood of comments of like, that's not the only thing that's going to be harder. Yeah, it's harder to play the game with one hand. And it's like, all right, you fucks, knock it off. You're not helping.
First one thing, then the other. Get your priorities straight,
right.
People.
You know? Anyway, that was my favorite story of the week. I just thought it was delightful.
That is a delightful story. Well, the first one that I have is just, there's not much for me to say about it, just the headline being, according to IGN, Activision QA workers vote to form largest U.S. video game worker union to date.
That is out-fucking-standing.
Yes, it is. You love to see it.
Out-goddamn standing. You do. You love to see it.
Yeah. In light of the endless barrage of layoffs, there's some people are doing some stuff, and that's good to see.
Yeah, that's great.
Speaking of things that are good to see, Sea of Stars celebrates 5 million players and teases 3-player couch co-op. Reported by IGN, but they sent out a Kickstarter backer thing about this as well. They are doing. They were going to do 2-player co-op, and it looks like they're also going to try to incorporate 3-player co-op into Sea of Stars, which I think is very interesting for a turn-based RPG. I'm very curious how that's going to actually play out. But
yeah, I think it could be really cool.
5 million players, come on, way to go! You love it. I'm so glad this game was a success. I'm really looking forward to a couple of years from now playing this again. And in fact, actually, I'm going to play it again when the DLC comes out. I'm definitely going to. I'm not going to play through the whole game again because who has that kind of time? No. But I'm really looking forward to the DLC. Give me more of this game as long as you want. It's just lovely, wonderful. Hooray for Sea of Stars. Yeah. I did want to mention. I don't have anything specific to point to, but I know there's been a news a lot lately. There's some sort of nonsense about some sort of group called Sweet Baby Ray's or something like that. I know that's a barbecue sauce.
That's a barbecue sauce.
Something like that. And people think there's a company that's forcing diversity into games, and obviously that's a terrible thing. It's like Gamergate 2.0, and I want it to go away. So that's all the bandwidth I'm going to give that particular mountain of bullshit. Kotaku reports, here are 2024's finalists for the World Video Game Hall of Fame. This is tough. Have you seen this list yet?
No.
Okay, so here are the options of games to make it into the Video Game Hall of Fame this year.
And is it only one game gets voted in, or like all of them can get voted in?
I believe only one of them gets chosen to be added to the Hall of Fame.
So
let me double check here.
Baseball does a similar thing where whoever's eligible for the Hall of Fame, the ballots go out to the Baseball Writers Association of America, the BBWAA, as it's colloquially
I think it's
known.
I think it's 3.
But okay, because the baseball writers get to cast 10 votes. If there are 50 people on the ballot, and there are 20 people that are worthy of being Hall of Famers, they still only get to cast 10 votes. Make it fucking make sense. That's so dumb.
According to Kotaku,
so
on
dumb.
March 14th, The Strong announced its annual list of finalists for potential induction into the Hall of Fame. The public can vote on the 12 finalists, and the top 3 games from the public vote will be submitted on a ballot alongside other ballots from the Hall of Fame Selection Committee. The final inductees will be revealed on Thursday, May 9th.
Okay.
So anyway,
all right,
previous,
so what's our list?
Let's see. Current inductees include games like The Last of Us, Wii Sports, and Tetris. Here's what we have. We have
all very similar games.
Very similar. We have Asteroids.
Yeah. Okay.
Elite.
Don't even know what that is.
I don't even know this game at all.
Yeah.
Guitar Hero. Metroid. Come on, slideshow. Myst. Neopets. Resident Evil. SimCity. Tokimeki Memorial? Never heard of it. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater.
Okay.
Ultima. You Don't Know Jack. And then that's it.
I mean, apart from the games I don't know. You Don't Know Jack, I think, is the only one that I wouldn't consider like a Hall of Fame video game.
I mean, it's been around forever, but like on the level of SimCity, Metroid. Honestly, out of this list,
that's what I'm
I
saying,
would say Metroid, honestly, just because of its influence. I think out of everything there, it's probably the most influential. SimCity, Resident Evil, and Asteroids probably right behind it. Although Ultima, too, is another big piece of the video game history puzzle, but like the Metroidvania genre is such a thing.
Right.
I would think that out of everything there, I think the original Metroid is probably the most Hall of Fame worthy, in my opinion. But I guess I wouldn't really be.
I suppose it depends on what their criteria is.
Yeah, like I don't know, man.
Like, are they going by sales numbers? Because then it's probably Guitar Hero or Tony Hawk. I'm guessing. I don't know.
What do you think sold better, Guitar Hero or Tony Hawk?
I think probably Tony Hawk. But I think
if
like
we're going
Rock Band probably sold more than.
Well, I don't know.
Tony
Rock
Hawk,
Band
like
sold
even Guitar
sold
Hero
a bajillion
2.
copies, but Rock Band, yeah. See, that's we're talking about. Rock Band was cost prohibitive, right? Like Rock Band was the first one of those. It sold a bajillion and really well considering what it was, but like that was a giant box. Whereas Tony Hawk's Pro Skater was just like, here's a PlayStation disc for $40. Go nuts! It's like,
and
I don't know.
Is it just? It's just Tony Hawk. It's just the game, not the series.
Yeah, just the game, not the series.
Okay.
Exactly. It's just the game.
Okay.
So that's tough, but that's cool. Ready for the video game Hall of Fame. Ugh.
That's right.
Goodness gracious me. Let's see. Oh, this is really cool. Go Nintendo reports. What the Golf gets major slime time update. This kind of dropped out of nowhere. It's a whole new 50 plus silly new levels. John has already played all of them. He did it just the first night. He just kind of plowed right through it. Good for him.
That's awesome.
Let's see. We heard rumors about this, but it's official. Saber Interactive will split from Embracer Group in a complicated but amicable divestment.
That sounds fun.
Yeah. More things moving away from Embracer Group seems like a good thing to me.
Yeah.
I don't know. That company was just buying everything for a while there, and clearly that was not the greatest strategy in the world.
Who knew? Who could have predicted? They could have asked me.
Yeah.
I'd have let them know. Okay, guys, don't fucking do that.
This one here, Time Extension reports this Frankenstein Wii N64 GameCube console gives us nightmares. Have you seen this thing?
I'm very excited about it. Yeah, I like it.
It's just this weird,
big fan of it,
hideous monstrosity. The Wii Cube 64. I'm just.
Yeah, no, it's my favorite system.
I'm speechless.
It's backwards compatible. Plays all your games. What more do you want?
It's unbelievable.
It's great.
All right, with that, we're going to take ourselves a quick break. I don't have any other week-old news. It was kind of a slow news week. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the Karate Kid for NES. You're listening to the Stone Age Gamer podcast from Geekade.com. Stick around. Hi, everyone. Kris here. Podcast listening is free, but podcast creation is not. That's why the Geekade Patreon exists. In an effort to help us pay the bills, we've got a Patreon page set up where you can gain access to our monthly podcast topic schedule, get early access to many of our shows, and more. If you'd like to help support Geekade and keep these shows running week after week, head over to the Geekade Patreon page, linked in the show notes of this very podcast.
We are Safe at Home, the leading dog rescue in the heart of New Jersey. Are you searching for a loyal companion, a dog that will bring love and joy to your home? Look no further than Safe at Home. At Safe at Home, we believe in giving every dog a second chance. We rescue, rehabilitate, and find loving forever homes for dogs in need, right here in the Garden State. Our dogs are ready to make a lasting impact on your life. Each one has a unique story, a wagging tail, and an incredible capacity for love. When you adopt from Safe at Home, you're not just gaining a pet, you're becoming a part of our family. Our dedicated team ensures a seamless adoption process, providing ongoing support and guidance. With New Jersey's beautiful parks, beaches, and trails, you and your new furry friend will have endless opportunities for adventures and cherished memories. Safe at Home relies on the support of compassionate individuals like you. Your donations and volunteer work enable us to continue saving lives and finding forever homes for these amazing dogs. Join us in creating a safer, happier community for dogs in New Jersey. Together we can make a difference and give every dog the chance to feel safe at home. Visit our website or call us now to learn about how you can be a part of the Safe at Home mission. Safe at Home, because every dog deserves to be loved and protected. www.safeathomerescue.org.
We're back. We are back for the Alphabet Super Series, where once a month, Dan and I talk about different video games that start with the consecutive letters of the alphabet. It was my turn to pick a game, and I decided against going with some sort of long-form 3D platformer and picked something short and sweet.
Fuck you.
I picked The Karate Kid for NES, which is the first video game I ever beat, unless you count Haunted House for 2600. Which I suppose you could. But it was the first NES game I ever beat. And I've always had a soft spot for it.
Because of your attitude, I just changed my pick to Legend of the Dragoon, by the way, just so you're aware.
You'll be playing that one by yourself, sir. This was released in 1987. It was actually developed by Atlus for LJN.
Really?
Yeah, this is an Atlus joint before they, figured out how to make good games.
This game.
Look, I still have a soft spot for this game. I get genuine entertainment out of playing this game, and it was like it was like riding a bike. I put it in and I beat it on my second go around.
A really shitty bike with bent frame, one wheel.
This game suffers
bell
from
that doesn't work.
one of the cardinal sins of retro games or video games in general, and that's press up the jump. That is, unless you're a one-on-one fighting game, it's not a good thing for a platformer. It worked, obviously, like it was coming from a position of like Kung Fu Master, right? Because that was a press up the jump kind of a game. This is a similar situation. But the difference here is that Kung Fu Master didn't have platforming. There was no jumping over an insta-kill pit. There's no trying to climb up rocky surfaces or anything like that. It was just straight, flat floor.
While dudes are kicking you in the fucking face with wind.
In that instance, in Kung Fu Master, the press up the jump is okay. It's acceptable. That's right. It was early on. You can forgive a lot of things. This game, the press up the jump is just not a good time. So anyway, for anyone who hasn't played Karate Kid for NES, it follows the plot of Karate Kid Part 2, which, as a kid, I hadn't seen the Karate Kid. Right? I was aware of the movies, but I didn't see Karate Kid till I was like a teenager. So when I finally saw that movie,
love those movies.
I was very confused because like that movie ended and none of the shit that happened in the game happened in that movie. And then I saw Karate Kid Part 2. I was like, okay.
You at least have the All Valley Kung Fu or Karate tournament at the
All Valley
of
Championship,
the
the very, very beginning of the game. That's
where you don't fight
it.
Johnny at the end of it.
Don't you though?
Couldn't
like,
put a dude
how
in
can
a
you
black,
tell?
He's not in a fucking black gi. That's how you can tell. He's in a fucking blue gi. I forget what fucking school that was, but there was a dude in a blue gi in the fucking movie.
I just assumed that it was just poorly thought out. What's always struck me about that whole intro sequence, though, not the lack of specifically Johnny Lawrence and Cobra Kai black gi or anything like that, but have you ever noticed how absolutely massive the referee is?
Oh my God, he's so big. He's a fucking unit, I think the kids say.
He is at least twice as tall as any normal human would be. Like, if that guy kneeling is as tall, if not taller, than you are in the game. Which is bananas. Like, if that guy stood up, he would be he wouldn't fit in a house. Like, I don't know what's going on there. That guy has always freaked me the hell out. Like, who is this enormous person in the background telling me who wins this tournament? Yeah. So it plays out very similar to Kung Fu. You are Daniel-san, and you walk in one direction, and you beat up an endless train of dudes who are out to kick you in the face.
Yeah.
And there's mini games that you can play along the way.
All of the mini games coming from Karate Kid 2.
Well, the chopsticks were the first movie.
Oh yeah, I suppose you're right. Never mind.
There's three mini games. There's dodging the hammer. There's dodging the hammer. There's the ice block chop, and then there's the chopstick fly catch.
Yeah.
And they're all cute. They're all neat little mini games, I guess. And you get more drum punches and crane kicks because those are things that you have to you have ammo for. You have to use specific ammunition to do those moves. And you execute those moves. I never really got the hang of this as a kid. Like, why does he do it sometimes? Why does he not? It's when you're standing still and not pressing anything else that you get that you can do the special moves. Otherwise, you're just gonna do if you're moving forward, you won't use up your ammo on special moves. It's such a weird system.
Yeah, I mean there really wasn't a better way to do it, I don't think. Just the way that the way that the game has to control, like you can't press up and kick to do the fuck because you jump. Right. You know. So
I think
if
they had taken a more double dragon approach. Yeah, maybe the select button. I think jumping should have been more like the double dragon approach. Jumping should have been A and B at the same time. And then you could have assigned up and a button to, one button would have been, just like it is, one button's B is kick, A would have been punch, but then you could have done up and kick or up and punch to do the special moves.
Yeah. Just as an aside, according to the Karate Kid and Cobra Kai wiki, the fandom.wiki, the blue geed characters are Topanga Karate in the current series.
I see.
I don't know what they were back then, but anyway.
Huh. Well,
I haven't heard what you've said
know.
for the last 5 minutes because I've been fucking looking for that. Trying to look for some blurry ass images to see if I can read the back of the fucking shirt.
Anyways,
the controls are such utter dog shit in this game. It really does, it makes it fucking, it's not fun to play. Because it's not even necessarily that it's the hardest game ever made. It's just that it fundamentally doesn't work.
See, I don't know that I fully agree with that. I have typically had fun playing this game.
Oh, this game frustrates me to no end.
It's extraordinarily frustrating, but I don't know, it always seemed manageable enough.
There are certain moments in this game that, and it's not the only retro game that suffers from this, but the interesting thing is that if you walk into an opponent, right, an enemy character, I suppose, you don't take any damage, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you only take damage when they punch you or kick you. So you can get juggled back and forth, particularly in the second stage when it's all fucking windy. You can get juggled over a pit of death, and then eventually, you just put the controller down. There's nothing you can do about it. You just have to wait till the game decides that they're done juggling you and they've dropped you into the pit of death. It's so fucking annoying.
Yeah, that's especially right at the very end on that last stage. That is a thing that comes up from time to time where it's just all right, time to take on Chosen, and then you get juggled and then just die before you even get near him.
Yeah. It's very frustrating. It's certainly not the worst game ever made, but it really, when you compare it to, like you were saying, Kung Fu, which obviously it's inspiration. That game's so much better.
Oh yeah,
it's just so much better.
It feels so much better,
and that sucks. Because Karate Kid's great. It's a great franchise. It's got a cool story. Johnny Lawrence would have been a cool villain to fight at the very beginning. Chosen's cool. He doesn't fucking slide in like he does in the movies. That would have been dope as shit. There's nobody there with those little fucking drums.
They could have made a very cool NES game out of Karate Kid. And Atlus also did Jaws for LJN. And I think Jaws is a great game. But again, it's not a great Jaws game. It's
right.
Only vaguely related to Jaws in most ways. It's that game is really about shooting stingrays with a harpoon gun and dropping bombs out of an airplane onto jellyfish. That's a very strange. I don't remember any of that stuff happening in the Jaws movie. And this
it
was
all happens off camera.
Yeah.
If you read the book, the game is based on the book. That must be what it is.
Clearly,
based it on the novelization.
I don't know, man. So one thing that I do think is you can't. I have a hard time arguing against this. The Karate Kid has great music. I love the soundtrack of this NES game. I really, really love it.
Yeah, no argument there. No argument there. It's a very good soundtrack.
I've always loved this soundtrack.
That you will hear quite a bit as it fucking juggles you into the pit of death over and over again. And you have to start the game back over because there's no fucking continue. If you die, you're right back at the tournament. You gotta fucking fight your way through again and do that same dumb shit. It does.
But it's such a short game.
It really is. It's
tiny,
15
tiny
minutes.
Game. Yeah, it's really doesn't take much to plow through it other than just dealing with the frustration. Because the first couple of stages are just not that big a deal. It's
and once you learn the trick,
Yeah.
Once you learn the trick
stage,
that there are only 2 enemies on screen at one time, if you get them behind you and you just kind of walk a little bit, they will never attack you.
Yeah.
Like they juggle you a little bit, and if you can manage to get yourself in front of them, you can just kind of walk and stay in front of the 2 bad guys, and nobody will come at you because there are 2 enemies on screen at one time. That is it.
But then,
and once you figure that part out, it's like, all right, this now makes this way more manageable.
That third stage, though, that final stage, is just such a pain in the balls. Especially the guys with the spears. They just bulldoze right into you, and there's no invincibility frame, so it's just like chunk. Like they can just, if you get caught in the wrong timing, because the timing on your kicks and stuff is really specific. There's a very specific rhythm to this game, and man, you just get stuck in the wrong place with those damn things. It's obnoxious.
It really is. It is a very, very frustrating game. I am not.
But I have a lot of fun memories
a big fan. Yeah,
I have a lot of fond memories of this game, and it was it wasn't a big time sink, so that was nice. And I had a lot of fun going back to it. It was like I said, it was like riding a shitty old bike. Like as soon as I started it up, and the tournament happened, I was like, I know exactly how to beat this. Like I won't even take a hit. I just know the exact timing of you do all these kicks over and over again. And you're just going to win every single fight, no question.
I'm just going to walk up and front kick this fucker in the face over and over again.
That last boss battle is such a pain in the balls. Because, what's her name? Kamiko?
Yeah.
She'll just go right off the side. It's such a bullshit situation. Like, you got to get near her or something to prevent her. Like, you have to beat Chosen without her falling off the side, but you have to actually beat him. You knock him into the water, he just shows back up again. Which is fucking bullshit. You have to have 3 crane kicks saved up. If you crane kick him 3 times, which you can because he will jump at you, and if you time it right, you crane kick, he'll jump again, crane kick, jump again. If you hit him with 3 crane kicks, it's done. Like, it's a super, super easy fight if you, as soon as you get on the platform, get where it's like a little bit more than half, or a little bit less than halfway onto the platform, he'll jump and you can just catch him with the crane kick. And you just do that 3 times and it's over. If you've managed to not fucking use your crane kicks as you've been going through the game because you tried to jump and you didn't jump and you stopped pressing forward, so you did a fucking crane kick. God damn it. But it has to be said out loud that the utter bullshit of that if he knocks you into the water, you're dead.
You die.
If you knock him in the water, he just magically reappears. That's fucking bullshit.
No, he's Chosen. Don't fuck with Chosen. Dude's all time.
He is. I was really happy when they came back in Cobra Kai. God, Cobra Kai is good. When's that show coming back?
Last season is this summer, I think.
It's the summer, okay. I know the last season is happening, and I'm so glad they're ending it. I really am.
It's been great, but it's done.
Exactly. It's run its course. Don't let it get bad. So far, you're running right up against that wall, but it's been a
fourth
damn
season,
fine entertaining.
There's a little bit of wonk in the 4th season. I don't know. I am excited to honestly, and I don't do this very often, I am excited to go back and rewatch seasons 1 through 4 in preparation for season 5.
I will absolutely do that.
It is a really, really good show.
It is a very, very rewatchable show. Right now, total side tangent. Right now, I had been looking for something to rewatch. I had been rewatching Letterkenny, but I was kind of feeling a different vibe, and I wasn't sure what it was. And then after Toriyama passed, I was like, you know what? I'm going to try to rewatch all of Dragon Ball, because I haven't done that in a long time.
That's
but just
such an undertaking.
Just background watch, right? So I need it in English, which the last time I watched everything, it was I did the Japanese versions, but I fucking watched it.
The subbed.
Yeah. So this time I just went with dubbed because the dub is fine. The unedited version, not Kai or anything like that. And I just finished the first world tournament in Dragon Ball. So a couple days in, it's just going by real quick, and it's nice to have on in the background. And holy shit, there's some really inappropriate stuff in Dragon Ball.
Yeah. That show is fucking nuts.
Master Roshi is fucking awful. He's a terrible, terrible person. But at the same time, like the tournament saga is so good, and like there's a lot of great stuff in that first Emperor Pilaf bit too. But like, man, that first world tournament is so good. Training the all the different fights with Krillin and the fight against Goku and Jackie Chun. The only reason he won was because his legs were
Jackie
longer
Chan.
and like
Yeah,
Nom. Like it's that show's great, and
it's a good show.
I'm blasting through it. I want to see how far I get. Let's see if I can get all the way through everything, even GT. I don't think I've ever actually watched all of GT before. I don't think I've ever made that. Never done it.
I got all the way through Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z. Once. Never happened again. I thoroughly enjoyed my time with it. Majin Buu is one of my favorite characters, literally of all time, in any media property ever. That's just one of the best characters ever. I will certainly watch an episode here or there if it's on. I can't ever imagine having the time or just dedication to sit down and be like, I am going to rewatch all 9,042 episodes of fucking Dragon Ball.
Yeah, it's definitely a background watch kind of a thing. You know, to have that on while I was cooking dinner or things like that.
Yeah.
Just kind of chilling in the background. But that's
we
been fun.
Try, as a sidebar to your sidebar, we did try to watch some of What If Season 2. And the first episode was fine. And the second episode, the start, did you watch it?
I did. I don't remember it.
The second episode was the Star-Lord episode where, like, the alternate Avengers. I was like, man, this is just not good. And we have not picked it back up. It's like, maybe it gets better. But
well,
boy.
yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing about What If is there are all these one-offs. So, like, you know, I remember there being a couple of fun ones in there, but I don't really remember. I don't even remember what they were.
Yeah, the first one was the Nebula joining the Nova Corps. The second
one was
that Star-Lord
being like,
fighting the Avengers.
Yeah, I remember. All right, I remember watching that first one, being like, okay, but I don't care. Like, this was interesting, but I just don't care. Like, what if Nebula did that? It's like, well, who the fuck cares? I don't know.
Yeah,
the Star-Lord one,
I don't give a shit.
Almost no recollection of. What the fuck were the other ones? Now I gotta look this up. What if? What the hell was season 2? Very memorable show this was.
Yeah, apparently. You're not selling it for me to go back to it.
Oh, you gotta watch the next one. The next one was great. What if Happy Hogan saved Christmas? Yeah, that's a good time. It's fucking stupid as hell. It is stupid, but it made me laugh. Iron Man.
I don't like the art.
Grandmaster was fine. Yeah, I don't like the way this.
I don't like the animation. Like the animation on the new He-Man show is fucking great. It looks so good. The animation in most of the DC movies and shit that they do, outstanding. This animation looks really fucking cheap and shitty. I don't care for it.
I'm not a fan. So I would say, I mean, you know, the ones that stick out to me. I'm gonna
watch it.
Yeah, there's at least...
It's literally the only MCU thing I have not seen yet. I made it all the way fucking through Secret Invasion. I'm gonna watch this too.
I'm gonna say there's at least
I'm not excited.
3. There's at least 3 episodes that I think you will genuinely enjoy. Be like, all right, that was a good time. The Happy Hogan Saves Christmas is just so fucking stupid. But it also has Justin Hammer in it, and I will always take more Sam Rockwell. So,
Tiff and I came to the conclusion the other day. We were watching a thing. I don't know why there was like on YouTube or some shit like that. We were just scrolling around, and like something popped up of like a little mini documentary on Sam Rockwell and like why he dances in every movie and like showing off all of his stupid dances and whatnot. And we came to the realization that he should but never will be the Doctor. And that has almost ruined Doctor Who for me again.
What was that?
Sam Rockwell should but never will be the Doctor.
Oh my God. He would be great.
He should be. He never will be. And now I don't want to watch any of the new Doctor Who. Because it's not fucking Sam Rockwell. And it's never going to be Sam Rockwell. And I'm really fucking mad about that. Like, fuck, man. I'm really pissed off now.
Just to keep imagining different scenarios with him as the Doctor. It's just
oh my God, it's the best idea ever. It's the best idea ever. He would be better than David Tennant. I will fucking say that shit. I stand by it. I love David Tennant as the Doctor. Sam Rockwell would shit on David Tennant.
I know what you meant, but I took it literally.
He might, even.
That's a very strange episode, Doctor.
It's possible with the fucking split they just did. Anyway, Sam Rockwell should be the Doctor at some point.
He's a
my God,
national
he'd be
treasure.
so fucking good. He really is. He really is. That dude's great. I can't wait to watch Argyle. I'm not interested in watching that movie at all, other than it being Sam Rockwell. Because I saw that movie. They just made it like a year ago with Channing Tatum and fucking Sandra Bullock, and Brad Pitt for a little bit. And it was great. I loved it. But Argyle seems to be like the same exact story as that movie. But this one has Sam Rockwell. So I'm in. Also, I think it's Matthew Vaughn, and that dude doesn't make bad movies. Anyway, Karate Kid. Fucking super duper average game.
It's an average game with a decent soundtrack that I'm nostalgic for. Thanks for playing it.
Yeah,
we should
it's a
wrap
bad
this
game,
up.
But it's a bad game with a decent soundtrack.
Yeah, I think if this game had shitty music, we wouldn't want to play it at all, or I wouldn't want to play it.
No,
you
God,
play it all already.
Yeah, no, I really don't. So it's my turn, right?
JKL.
L, yeah. Okay, good, because that's what So I was really waffling, and like really, really waffling, because there's a bunch of games that I wanted to suggest for this, and I really, I almost went with Legend of Kage, almost, but I decided instead of Legend
the challenge
of Kage,
of golf for Sega CD.
Yes. How did you fucking know? No, we're going to play Lemmings, but we're going to play all the versions of Lemmings, and we're going to compare fucking copious notes on each and every one of them. No, what I decided I was in the mood for, because I don't think, and I was trying to think back to like all the different little like series things that we've done. I don't think we've ever had a shmup in any of them. I could be wrong, but I was trying to think back. I don't think we have. Is there any you can think of before I say what we're playing? I mean,
no.
Most of you already just figured it out, but right, we've never done a shmup.
Starts with L. Lords of Thunder?
Yeah. No. I thought that one, there might be a barrier of entry for some of our listeners who like to play along.
L-type.
I don't know that. Yes. I don't know that there's a barrier of entry for Lords of Thunder. That game is really fucking good. But no, we are going to play Life Force.
Life Force. Huzzah. Salamander.
Yes. I remember loving this game. Like, just loving it. And it being hard, but interesting, and, like, really gross, weird bosses. And, like, I don't know. I just remember really, really digging this game quite a bit. So I am excited to jump back into it and do our first shmup on one of these 500 and something episodes in. It's like, all right, let's
Yeah.
do a shmup.
Let's shmup it up.
Let's shmup it up.
Well, that's wonderful. Great choice. I'm looking forward
Thank
to some
you.
Life Force too. That was one of those games that I always wanted to play more of as a kid, but I didn't know anybody with the game. So,
Yeah.
like, I think none of my rental places had it, and I didn't know anybody who had the game. So, like, I've played it very, very few times when I was younger. It's good stuff. So, hooray.
What fucking great box art, too.
Oh my god,
love
that
the
box
box
was
art
so
on this.
cool.
It's so cool and intimidating. It's so fucking metal. I fucking love it. It's so good.
Great choice. Life Force is your homework, everybody. I'll go ahead and pop that in the Discord. And in the meantime, that is our show. Join us next time for the March 10, 20, 30, 40. We talk about notable game releases from 10, 20, 30, and 40 years ago this month. We're on most social media platforms. And if you want to get in touch with us, we aren't very difficult to find. All it takes is a quick look at our show notes, and you'll see links to our social media accounts, as well as all manner of other fun stuff, like a link to our namesake, StoneAgeGamer.com, and more useful links than you can shake a joystick at. If you'd like to get early access to this show's episodes, as well as a bevy of other shows on the Geekade Podcast Network, check out our Patreon, also linked to in the show notes. It helps keep this show running week after week, and all our patrons are loved and appreciated. This show's theme song, Squared Roots, was written by Banjo Guy Ollie. You can learn all about his wonderful music and more by following the link to his YouTube channel, also in the show notes. And finally, as always, we'd like to thank our intrepid editor, Evan, for making the show listenable for all you folks. We'd like to thank all you folks for listening in the first place. That is it, everybody. On behalf of Dan and myself, keep playing games.